Okay, good morning everyone. I'm Shabana Ali from Shastrinagar MPS Secondary English School. Today we are going to see the Science and Technology Part 2, Chapter number 1, that is Heredity and Evolution. Students, earlier to this video, you can see the previous topic, first topic, which is hereditary. Hereditary topic, which was taught by Rishali teacher. You can see on YouTube channel, our BMC education channel. Hereditary part was done by Rishali teacher. And after that, evolution part, you must have studied from Samina teacher. You can see the video previous to this slide. Evolution part has been started, in which you have studied. Let's revise that. I'll show you the previous one. Let's revise quickly. Evolution part. Like evolution is a gradual change occurring in living organisms over long duration. So in earlier lecture, you must have studied from other teacher about the evolution, definition of evolution. It's a slow going process through which development of organism is achieved. So evolution definition you have seen. Different kind of species. Then you must have seen how these stars and planets were formed. Big Bang theory is important. Big Bang theory given by the scientist George Lemaitre. Big Bang theory you must have studied in the last lecture. What was that? It was a universe was a single point, and then it exploded, and all the materials present inside it was thrown in the space, and those materials gradually, slowly changes into stars and planets. Like this, the stars and planets were formed. This you have studied in the previous lecture. Then, if you see in the history, there are many philosophers and the writers were there. They have written their observations and all. About 3.5 billion years ago, life did not exist on the earth. After that, it has started. It is there in, according to the scientists, it has started in the ocean, from simple element to the complex element. Like woolly mammoth, many animals which are fit to live with the environment. That is what is natural selection. We will see in the next slides today. What is the natural selection? So dinosaur, you must have heard, very famous, that it got extinct because they were not fit to live with the environment. So they got extinct. So the living organisms, whether they are plants or the animals which are fit to live with the environment, with the nature, they only exist in the environment. Different animals like polar bear, they are fit to live in the polar region. So they live there because of the human activities, due to human activities or due to the weather or climate change, these animals are also got extinct. At present, there are thousands of crores of species are there in plants and animals with huge diversity in the environment. Unicellular animals. So first, when the life exists, so first unicellular animals or simple elements, they got to know, and then multicellular animals discovered. Living organisms are present everywhere, in the air, in the water or land or rocks, etc. Gradual development, that is only the evolution. Evolution takes a long time, many years, to change from one generation to the another generations. First living, this is very important, student, remember this one. First living material, protoplasm, has been formed in the ocean. So this can come for your MCQs question. First living materials, protoplasm, has been formed in the ocean. This can come for your MCQ questions. So very important to read textbooks I think you have received your textbooks from your school. Very important to read textbooks because first question in your science paper, first 5 questions will be 5 marks MCQs. So for that, you have to read your textbooks. And after that also 5 questions will be one sentence questions, one answer in one word, or match the column, or write true or false, or write down the correlation, match the column. So like that, small questions will come anywhere from the textbook. So if you read the textbook, you can answer any question. Okay, so very important to read every lesson carefully so you can score these 10 marks easily. MCQs plus one sentence or 1 marks answer or objective types of questions that we will discuss in Saturday lecture. I will discuss all the question and answer. So first understand what is given in the evolution part in your chapters. So 300 crore years, you can see before 300 crores years, some species were there. Then we see now after crores of years ago, or after crores years of years, after crore of years, we see many diversity in the species, in animals, either in plants or animals. This overall process is called evolution, which is organizational. Organizational means in every year or after some years, we see the different kinds of species and animals in plants and animals. Progressive development of plants and animals from ancestors having different structural and functional organization is called evolution. So evolution different definitions are given, and this can come for a short note. Theory of evolution, are there such evidences? So to prove the theory of evolution, that these many varieties of animals and plants we have, so what are the evidences that we are going to see? That is also important, comes in your exam. Evidences of evolution, which are the different evidences or the proofs given to prove that these animals were existed many years ago. So you must have studied in previous lecture morphological evidences, means similarity in physical characters. Morphological evidences is the first evidence. Then you have to remember the second one. First one, morphological evidences. Second, anatomical evidences. Means there is a similarity in the bone structure or joint of the bones, like human hand, cat's foreleg, flipper of whale, patagium of bat. This shows the joint, say almost all same kind of joints, some or the other joint. So this comes in anatomical evidences. Or similarity in bone structure. If this comes in your exam, similarity in bone structure, so you have to remember that is nothing but the anatomical evidences. Then vestigial organ. This is also important question, comes in exam. Vestigial organ, which are the vestigial organs which are present in your body that you must have studied? Wisdom tooth, appendix, ear pinna, then coccyx, the tailbone, which got degenerated. According to scientists, Weaver monkey. So the tailbone got degenerated. That is called as coccyx. So that is vestigial organ in the human body. Appendix is the vestigial organ in human body, but it is functional in other animal, like ruminant animal. It is functional. So what is vestigial organs? You must have studied degenerated or underdeveloped useless organs. The organs which undergone degeneration. So degenerated or underdeveloped useless organs of organisms are called as vestigial organs. This question can, definition can come for 1 marks, or long question can come, that we will discuss how it will come. You can see here useful body structure in monkey, but it is not useful in our body. tailbone. Useless body structure as it evolved. It, according to scientists, we were monkey before, so we were having a tailbone, we were having a tail. Then slowly, gradually, the human beings evolved. So that becomes a useless body structure. The tailbone undergone degeneration and it becomes useless body structure. Appendix is a useless organ, but it is useful in other animal, like ruminant animal. It is fully functional organ. Muscles of ear pinna, it is useless organ in our body, but muscles of ear pinna, it is useful and fully functional in monkey. Vestigial organ, so you can see coccyx means tailbone, wisdom tooth, body hair, ear pinna. So these are all come under vestigial organ, which are not useful in human being. You can see nictitating membrane, it is useful in bird. We also have nictitating membrane, but we cannot cover it, our eyes, with the nictitating membrane. So this is also a vestigial organ or useless organ in our body, and but it is functional in bird. Nictitating membrane. Vestigial organ, like fully developed wings, you can see the birds uses their wings to fly. But in some animals or some birds like kiwi, you can see on the right hand side, kiwi underdeveloped wings are there, they are not using it. So it is a vestigial organ for kiwi, but that same wing is useful in other bird. So like that we have to study that some same part it is vestigial in some bird, it is useful in other bird, you can see. So same way we have appendix which is not functional in our body, but it is fully functional in other ruminant animal. So let's continue with the topic. How can we tell which organism existed million years ago? Means first evidences we have seen morphological evidence, then we have seen anatomical evidence, then we have seen vestigial organs. Okay, next we will see how can we tell which organism existed million of years ago. So which evidence we can give for proving that due to any be it any reason like earthquake or volcano or flood or any kind of human activities, so the animals or the plants got extinct or they got degenerated or they buried under the earth because of some or the other activities. So by finding out their fossils we can find out, we can study, that is called as the paleontological evidence. Paleontological evidence means it is the showing the fossil, study of fossil, that is a paleontology. Okay, paleontology is the study of fossil. So whatever fossils we get under the earth, so scientists they study it, that how many years ago these animals or the plants got extinct or they buried under the earth. So they have system of carbon dating and all that we will study further. So fossil, by studying the fossil, the scientist comes to know that how many years ago these animals or the plant got extinct. Study of fossil is an important aspect of study of evolution. So this helps a lot in the study of evolution to know how many years ago these plants or animals got extinct. So that is called as paleontology. So this proof is called as paleontological evidence. Okay, carbon dating I said. Willard Libby was the scientist who has discovered this method of carbon dating. When the animals are alive, they consume carbon. Okay, when the animals are alive, they consume carbon, and when they become dead, after the death, the carbon consumption of the animals and plants stops. When the animals are alive or living organisms, any living organisms, we also, whatever food we eat, we consume carbon with that. So all the living organisms, they consume carbon when they are alive, and when they become dead, they stops their carbon consumption and their body undergo decaying. Okay, degeneration or decaying of the or decomposition of dead bodies started. So when there's a decomposition of bodies started, so there is a emission of C14 carbon. There are two types of carbon, C12 and C14. C12 is non-radioactive. C12 is non-radioactive, but C14 is the radioactive carbon. By studying that number of radioactive carbon, we can come to know that how many years ago this animal or this plant got extinct. Okay, so this was given by Willard Libby was the scientist, and for this research, carbon dating method, for this research, he got Nobel Prize in 1960. Willard Libby was a scientist. For this carbon dating method, he got Nobel Prize in 1960, and he wrote everything about the carbon dating in his book Radiocarbon. Okay, this can come for MCQs also. Which scientist has discovered radiocarbon method, carbon dating method, or which book was written by Willard Libby in which carbon dating method is mentioned. So that is book name is Radiocarbon C14. You can see C14 is a radioactive carbon. So radiocarbon name was given by Willard Libby, and in this book all the research whatever he has done he has mentioned in his book Radiocarbon. Okay, so the carbon dating method is used in paleontology, means to know the study of fossil, and anthropology. Anthropology means studying the culture, the custom of the especially human beings. Anthropology means studying about their culture, their customs, and their traditions. Means how they were long years ago. So that is anthropology. So and paleontology is the study of fossil. Okay, so the carbon dating method is used in paleontology and anthropology for determining the age of human fossils and manuscripts. Fossils means whatever structure you get, the coins or the papers or the skeleton or any material, that is a fossil, all fossils. Manuscripts means whatever is writing part, that is manuscripts that we get from paleontology. Once the age of fossils has been determined by such technique, it becomes easy to deduce the information about other erstwhile organisms. So if we know one organism, we got to know by paleontology that how many years ago this got extinct. So with that animals or with that animal, other plants are there or animals we get. So we can, it is easy to understand that these were also there on the same time. Okay, this here we're done with the paleontological evidence. Next is a connecting link. The question comes based on this also, connecting link. Here three animals are given. Connecting link means what, students? Connecting link means it is showing the characters of both the animals. Okay, two animals. Like connecting link, first example in your textbook, it is peripatus. Remember this. Animal name is peripatus, which is showing the characters of both Annelida and Arthropoda. Okay, Annelida and Arthropoda. So this can come for your exam. Peripatus is a connecting link between dash and dash. So peripatus is the connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda. How it is? Annelida showing the segmented body. Okay, you can see parapodia like organ, thin cuticle, segmented body like Annelida example is earthworm. Earthworm is from family Annelida, and Arthropoda like cockroach. Cockroach joint appendages. They have a joint legs. So whatever animals have a joint legs, they comes under Arthropoda. So peripatus is the animal which is showing the characters of both Annelida also and Arthropoda also. So this is called as a connecting link. Peripatus is a connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda. Next animal is duck-billed platypus. So this question can come in your exam. Duck-billed platypus is a connecting link between dash and dash. Okay, so it is connecting link between reptiles and mammals. It is showing the characters of both, like reptiles they lay eggs, and mammals, they have a mammary gland and hairs. So duck-billed platypus is showing both the characters. They lay eggs and they have a mammary gland also and hairs also on their body. So duck-billed platypus is a connecting link between reptiles and mammals. Third example of connecting link is the lungfish. As you know, students, fish does not have lung. They respire, they do the respiration by their gills. You must have studied in your smaller standard, lower standard, that fishes, they respire through their gills, which they have near their mouth opening. Okay, but lungfish, they have lungs and they do the respiration with the help of lungs. So lungfish is a connecting link between fishes and amphibians. Like lungfish, fishes, you know, they can live in the water, but lungfish, they can live in the water as well as on the land. So they show the character of fishes also, and they show the character of amphibians. So lungfish is a connecting link between fishes and amphibians. So three things we have studied in connecting link. First, peripatus, which was connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda. Second, duck-billed platypus, which is the connecting link between reptile and mammals. Third, lungfish, which is the connecting link between fishes and amphibians. So short note can come, write down the short note on connecting link. Next, embryological evidences we will see. Embryo means when the baby is started forming. So that is called embryo. So when baby is inside the womb of mother, you can see the embryological evidences. Embryos, you see carefully. First stage, second stage, and third stage. First, see vertically. 1, 2, 3. First, you can see fish. Second, salamander, tortoise, chicken, rabbit, cow, man, etc. So starting, you cannot identify it is an embryo of human being or it is an embryo of fish. All looks alike. So what the scientists have said, all embryos showed extreme similarities during initial stage. So they have somewhere they are connected with the same ancestor. So all embryos shows extreme similarity during the initial stage. Starting stage all look same. So these similarities decrease gradually. First they look same and then slowly they started looking different. So similarities in initial stage indicate that common origin of all these animals. Means what the scientists have studied, that in the initial stage of the embryo all are looking same. So it means they have come from somewhere from the same origin or common origin. Okay, this is the embryological evidence. Now, let's see what the Charles Darwin has said. Charles Robert Darwin was a scientist. What he has said, he has given the theory of natural selection. All the species of living organisms have been gradually evolved over the period of thousands of years from the common ancestor. So what he is saying, that after so many years, many species have evolved and somewhere they are having a common origin or common ancestor. He has given the principle of natural selection, which is responsible for evolution. So what is the principle of natural selection? That you can tell in short, survival of fittest theory. That is also called as Darwin's theory of natural selection. What is a Darwin's theory of natural selection given by Charles Robert Darwin? It is also called as the survival of fittest. Means if you are fit to survive, then only you can live with the nature. In short, you can understand. So he has written the book Origin of Species. Origin of Species is written by Charles Darwin, and in that he has mentioned many species, whatever he has done the experiment or observations. Darwin's theory of natural selection. All organisms reproduce prolifically. Means all organisms reproduce their young one by their laying their legs or giving uh, birth to direct to the young ones. So all organisms reproduce their new generation. All organisms compete with each other in life-threatening manner. Like, for example, if you are going for the interview, many uh, what we can say, many candidates they go for the interview, and you are on the same line, and then one by one they ask, and everybody is trying to give their best, and like nature selects the best, the person who can live with the nature, who can fit with the changes in the nature, they only can live. Same way you go for the interview, the boss or the company manager, okay, company owner select the person, those who are good for their company. Same way nature select those who are fit to live with the environment, because nature always keep on changing with the weather, with the human activities. So the persons, the living organisms, whether they are plants or animals, those who are fit to live with the environment, they only live with the nature. That is called survival of fittest, which is given by Charles Darwin. So in this competition, only those organisms sustain which show the modifications essential for winning the competition. For example, now there's a pandemic is going on. So we have to fit with the environment. We have to learn online. Every teacher, every student, they have to learn the how to handle the mobile, how to attend the lecture on Zoom, how to see the video on YouTube, how to give their attendance in the morning during the lecture. So we have to fit, we have to change with the environment. We have to change with the modifications. We have to modify ourselves also. Natural selection also plays an important role because nature selects only those organisms which are fit to live and rest perish. So if we are fit to live with the environment, we live with the environment, otherwise rest perish or all got extinct. Sustaining and selected organisms can perform reproduction and thereby give rise to new species. So those who are fit to live with the environment, they only reproduce their new species with their own specific characters. Now, what was the objections against Darwin's theory of natural selection? First objection was natural selection is not the only factor responsible for evolution. Evolution is a gradual change. So what was the objection? That natural selection is not the only factor responsible. This is one of the factor that you have to change with the environment, but this is not only the factor. Second, Darwin did not mention any explanation about useful and useless modification. Which are the useful modifications? Which are the useless modification? This was not mentioned by the Darwin. There is no explanation about slow changes and abrupt changes, slow changes or fast changes. This was not mentioned by Darwin, but he has given the milestone, means starting of something. Next, continuing with the Darwin's theory, Lamarckism. Lamarckism, what was a Lamarckism? It was given by the scientist Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. So what he has said, this theory of Lamarckism is also called as principle of use or disuse of organs. So Lamarck, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck was the scientist, and the theory was given by his name Lamarckism, and that is also called as principle of use or disuse of organ. Means if we are using some organ, it is active, okay, and it shows the modifications. If you are not using any organ, so it undergo degeneration, like tailbone. If you are, when you have evolved, so you are not using the tailbone, so it got degenerated. So like that, use and disuse of organ, it is depend on the use or disuse. So Jean Baptiste Lamarck proposed that morphological changes occurring in living organisms are responsible for evolution, and the reason behind those morphological changes is activities or laziness of that organism. Means if we are using the any organ, be it your hand, legs, your brain, any part of your body, if you are using it, it is active. Okay. If you're not using it for any purpose, so it becomes degenerated or lazy, or it becomes useless after some years or after some time. Then Lamarck proposed that the activities of the organisms are responsible for their evolution. So if whatever activities you are doing, so you are showing modifications. This French naturalist proposed that each animal or plant undergoes some changes in its lifespan, and those changes are transferred to the next generation, and such changes occur in next subsequent generation too. So whatever qualities we are getting from our ancestors, then from our grandparents, from us, we are getting the character, some of the other character from our ancestors. Okay, you can see the giraffe, first generation, very short neck. Then they started grazing on the tall trees, and then the neck becomes taller. This was given by Lamarckism. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck has given this theory. And shoulders have become very strong. The blacksmith, is hammering every time on the iron. So shoulders have become very strong due to hammering movement. Okay, ostrich, it is not using their, they are not using their wings, so it becomes useless. Emu, ostrich, so their wings have become weak because they are not using their wings to fly. Duck, they are using their legs, flippers, to swim in the water, so it becomes useful organ for them. The snake, they are burrowing inside the hole, so they doesn't require, because of burrowing inside the hole, their legs becomes extinct, lost their legs by modifications in their body for burrowing habit, because they have a burrowing habit, that's why they lost their leg. This was the observation given by Lamarck, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. Okay, he has given two things. In Lamarckism there are two things. First, use and disuse of organism. Second, theory of inheritance of acquired characters. Means whatever characters one generation have, it is transferred to the next generation. So these two things given by the Lamarckism. So during evolution, various species of living organisms are formed that we have seen. Okay, students, let's start with the question answer. Tomorrow, I will only continue with the next part of this evolution. Okay, and Saturday, we will discuss the important question answers which can come from whole this chapter, full chapter. Okay, okay, let's start with the question answer. In which journal the age of materials determined by carbon dating method? Yes, students. Will answer. Raise your hand up, those who want to answer. In which book or in which journal carbon dating method is mentioned? Zeenat Tilak Nagar. Unmute yourself, beta.
Ma'am, like cow.
In which book, in which journal, which was written by which scientist? Carbon dating method was given by which scientist? Wait, Carbon dating method was given by which scientist, students? Zeenat, where is she now? Okay, Mohammed want to answer? Mohammed, answer.
Yes, Miss. Willard Libby.
Willard Libby, very good. Willard Libby has given the carbon dating method. Okay, Nitish. Unmute yourself, beta. Nitish. Nitish and Navin.
Miss Radiocarbon book. That was the Radiocarbon book.
Very good. Radiocarbon was the book which was written by Willard Libby, and for that he got Nobel Prize for that.
Okay,
for
miss.
the carbonated method.
Thank you, miss.
Good. Next question. Scientist study of fossil. Scientific study of fossil is called as what? Yes. Study of fossil is called as what? Reshma Ansari, Nehru Nagar, I think so. Yes, Reshma. Unmute yourself. Reshma. Unmute yourself, beta. Amir Hamza. Study of fossil. What is called as study of fossil? As Amir Hamza, unmute yourself. Amir Hamza. Okay, Khushi from Shastri Nagar MPS only, my school. Tell me.
Yes, miss.
Wait, Amir Hamza, after this you answer me. Khushi.
Yes.
Study of fossil is
Paleontology.
called as. Okay, very good. Paleontology. Amir Hamza said.
Logical evidence.
Okay, evidences. If they're asking evidences, so that is paleontological evidences, or study of fossil is called as paleontology. Okay, logy means study. So paleontology means study of fossils. Okay, good, both of you. Next, name some vestigial organs present in the human body. Which are the vestigial organs we have in human body? Nasreen and Anisur. Sainath. Which vestigial organ we have studied, which we have in our human being, human body? Nasreen. Nasreen, unmute yourself, beta. Arjun. Sorry. Arjun. Is not
Miss
connected.
vestigial organ.
Vestigial organ. Which are the vestigial organ we have studied today in human being?
Miss
Saini.
tissue.
What's your name, beta?
Miss Nasreen.
Nasreen is speaking. Okay. Okay. Yes, which vestigial organ we have studied in human being?
Miss tissue cell.
Have we studied this thing today, beta? Vestigial organ. What I have taught you today? Vestigial organ in human being. Others? Aisha, Shastri Nagar School.
Miss ear pinna, appendix, tail,
Hmm.
ear corners, eye. Miss corner of the eye.
That is called as nictitating membrane.
Ear, wisdom teeth, appendix, tail.
Okay, good. Wisdom tooth, appendix, then ear pinna, then tailbone. Tailbone is also called as coccyx, which got degenerated in human being. Okay, tell me, out of this question can come in your exam. Write about the vestigial organ which are non-functional in human being, but it is fully functional in other animal. Which are those? Vestigial organ in human being, but it is functional in other animal. Yes, Ankita, Sahu, Tilak Nagar. Unmute yourself, beta. Ankita. Ankita, unmute yourself. Sanu Mishra.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Sanu.
Ma'am, example, ma'am, ear.
Yes, ear pinna, which
Yes,
is
ma'am.
not functional in our body, but it is functional in which animal?
Ma'am, cow, buffalo.
Cow or buffalo or
Ma'am, another elements, ma'am,
monkey.
ma'am,
They
wild
are
animals.
using it ear pinna to hear, to move, है ना? And other vestige organ we have studied appendix. Appendix, which is not useful in our body, but it is useful in other animal like cow and buffaloes, because we don't eat grass. We cannot digest it. But the ruminant animal, they are eating leaves and all, and they can digest. Because of that appendix they are using, okay, for the digestion. Okay,
Yes.
next, what else we have studied, students, today? Lungfish, which is very important. This type of question comes in your exam. Lungfish is the connecting link between dash and dash. What will be the answer? Lungfish, Shravan Chaurasia. Shravan Chaurasia, unmute yourself.
Teacher, lungfish is the link between amphibians and aquatic animals.
Amphibian
No, ma'am.
and
Ma'am,
fishes.
ma'am, between Annelida and Orthopoda.
No, Shravan said correct. Amphibians and aquatic means you have to say fish. It is a connecting link between fish and amphibians. Okay, amphibians. Next, what you said? Sanu, who said Sanu, na? What you said, beta? Connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda is which animal? Connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda?
Ma'am, sea animal.
Which one?
Sea animal.
I cannot hear. Pardon?
Ma'am, sea animal.
Sea animal. What we have studied?
Ma'am, आवाज नहीं
Animal is the connecting. Okay, dash animal is the connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda. What will be your answer?
Ma'am, peripatus.
Yes, peripatus. Very good. Now this is correct. Okay, don't get confused. 3 we have studied. Peripatus is a connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda. Lungfish is a connecting link between fishes and amphibians. And third one, what we have studied? Others who want to answer? Let me see. Seema Gupta. Seema Gupta, unmute yourself.
Yes, miss.
Third one,
Duckbills,
the connecting link between reptiles and mammals.
reptiles and mammals.
What are they?
Reptiles and mammals. Duckbill.
Duckbill.
Yes.
Duckbill what?
Is connected with reptiles and mammals.
What is the full name? Duckbill platypus.
Duck.
Okay. No problem. Try to answer. This is your first time, na? You are studying these things. So, full year, if you will study this again and again, you will remember. No problem. Okay. At least you are trying, everybody. Thank you so much. Let's see other questions I will ask you. 2 minutes is remaining. There are so many questions we can discuss. And what we have studied today? What else we have studied? Embryological evidence. What happens in the embryological evidence? Real C2. Who is this? Real C2. Write your name. Unmute yourself.
Raj Gupta.
Raj Gupta. Tell me, beta. Embryological evidence. What we have seen?
Okay. Hello.
What we have studied in embryological evidence? Yes. Arjun Gundavli, MPS. Can you answer? Not connected audio. Mic is not connected. Okay. Darwin has given which theory? Which theory is given by Charles Darwin? Yes. Which theory was given by Charles Darwin? Yes, you want to answer? Raju. What your name? Raju only. No? Raj Gupta. Unmute yourself. Darwin has given which theory? Yes.
Kangaroo.
Huh?
Kangaroo.
Which one?
Kangaroo.
Kangaroo. Which was the theory? Darwin's theory of natural selection. Remember, this question will come. Then we will remember Darwin's theory of natural selection. This comes for your short note also. Write down short note on Darwin's theory of natural selection. Okay. So what he has said in that theory? Right. Tell me in your own words. Yes. What he has said in his theory, Darwin's theory of natural selection. If we are fit to live with the environment, then only we can live with the nature, no? We have to change with the modification. We have to change with the natural changes. Okay. Isn't it? Yes or no? We have to change with the environment. We have to change with the generation, for good of our benefit, for our future, to live with the environment, to cope up with the environment. Okay. Students, we will continue on the same time tomorrow, 10:45. Okay. Thank you so much. Shall we end, ma'am? Vishali teacher. We'll wind up with the lecture. Vishali teacher. Shall we wind up?
Hello. Yes, Shabana ma'am. We'll wind up.
Yes.
Okay. We'll continue tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shabana ma'am. Thank you, students.